knowledge and taking action. What is education and what is the purpose of it? In the famous book How to Win Friends and Influence People, there's a quote. It goes like this: "The great aim of education is action, not knowledge." And it's by Herbert Spencer. What the quote means is that if we don't take action on the knowledge that we learned, then the act and time spent acquiring it was wasted. It doesn't matter if the knowledge you learned was from a teacher or a book. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's kind of like filling a bucket with water, but the bucket has a hole near the bottom, and so it would keep emptying even though you fill it time and time again. So again, the main idea is if we don't take action, the knowledge itself and the act and time acquiring it is wasted. But there are 3 exceptions. Exception number 1 would be if you happen to be a type of person who just loves to learn random things, even though you know that you very likely will never act or implement on it. There's a certain category of people who are intrinsically motivated by the act of learning itself, regardless of its usefulness in their lives. Maybe they find intellectual stimulation pleasurable or such. But again, it's important to understand how the human memory works here. The sad reality is that the vast majority of the knowledge we obtain is forgotten with the passage of time. So in the future video I will go through this with Ebenhei's forgetting curve. Exception number 2. Actions can be defined in different ways. Thinking about your favorite topic can be seen as an action. Then if you read or learn something about a topic that you already spend a lot of time thinking about, it could be seen as though you're acting upon that knowledge. Kind of like that you have a hobby, but an intellectual hobby. So for example, let's say that you find a topic fascinating. You love to learn more about it and understand exactly how it works. This type of hobby might not have any direct practical application, but it's intellectual. An example of such a hobby could be loving to learn about Mars, like the planet, or a particular time in history. If you constantly think about your topic, that could be viewed as a pseudo-action. And it could also be that, maybe you're discussing it with your friends and, the topic becomes relevant. And it's also like, if you talk about it all the time, you're essentially teaching it to others. And that takes me to the next exception. So exception number 3. Earlier I said if we do not take action on the knowledge that we learned, then the act and time acquiring it was wasted. The third exception is if you teach it. You can teach something and also act upon it, but in this exception I will only be focusing on if you teach it and don't apply it. So if you don't take action yourself on the knowledge that you learned, but at least you teach it to others and they act upon it, then you have found a loophole to the rule. It essentially means that you could be an unhealthy doctor, a fat diabetic dietitian, or an unhappy miserable psychologist. But it could also simply mean that your job is being a teacher or a professor. You learn some knowledge and then you're acting upon it by instructing others what to do. So even though you yourself will not act upon the knowledge that you spend time learning, as long as the people you teach act on your knowledge, then there is some value in the act of acquiring it. For example, a doctor learns facts about the risks associated with smoking, and then he teaches it to others, yet he continues to smoke. He does not himself act upon the knowledge because he keeps smoking, but he's using the knowledge to teach it to others and they act upon it.